It's crazy. This is probably the quietest big city that I've been to. There's pretty much no noise whatsoever, except for the irritating sound of my voice. Big shiny city with very little going on. I can't believe how empty this place feels. There's not a single person around anywhere. Seems very unkept, very overgrown, like it hasn't been mowed in years and years. And largely abandoned, like whatever that is, definitely abandoned. The whole city kind of feels abandoned in a way, but yeah, more of these.
My first impressions of Astana were not fantastic. The capital city of Kazakhstan is one of the strangest I have ever been to. It is shiny and sleek, massive and modern, yet for a city of over 1 million people, it simply feels bleak and empty in many definitions of the word. However, I'm not one to discount a city based on first impressions alone, plus I'm already here, so let's make the most of it and see what Astana is all about. Is there more to Kazakhstan's capital than meets the eye? Let's find out.
Here in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, just took a very random detour here because I got a free flight credit from Air Astana that I probably wasn't going to use. So I figured a change of scenery from Almaty was not a bad idea. So now we're here seeing what the capital of Kazakhstan has to offer. So far, first impressions are kind of a unexciting city. Some beautiful buildings and landmarks, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to have as much going on as Almaty. And I think planning on 3 full days here was a bit much. Here we've got the Beit Erek, the tall tower with a golden ball at the top. It's always interesting being in a planned city. Like Astana was built to become the capital and like major financial and business center of Kazakhstan, and it took that title away from Almaty about 30 years ago. But I always find that here in planned cities like this, you won't find as much culture because it really takes, hundreds of years for a city to develop its own personality and character. So even though so far Astana looks really beautiful, it doesn't seem to really have its own soul yet. Lots of green areas, lots of beautiful buildings, some of the most grandiose administrative and government buildings that I've seen. And I can see why people that are looking to pursue a better career and look for more opportunities can be drawn to Astana. But as a traveler, so far it's just like being in a normal big city. It's very clean, it's very modern, but modern in a pretty funky way. Like, it's got its own unique architectural style. I am very thankful that the weather here in Astana is a lot more tolerable, about 70, 75 degrees right now, after spending a lot of time in over 100-degree weather pretty much every day of Uzbekistan, which is just uninspiring for walking around. So here, even though there won't be too much on my radar, it'll be nice just to explore and maybe run into some surprising things along the way. I'd say Kazakhstan so far has been the surprise of this trip, so I figured it doesn't hurt to spend a few extra days exploring the country. It's always good to kind of get a more complete view and experience more than just like the top thing to do or the top city. So we're gonna make the most of our time here in Astana. Again, it's so hard to top Almaty and follow up after just the incredible time that I've been having there. Some more funky little architectural, I don't know what to call them. I wouldn't call them wonders or marvels, just not sure what that is. The two golden, they look kind of like maybe beer cans. The buildings here are massive. This one, I've been walking around it for like 30 minutes now. It reminds me a lot of the Monster building in Hong Kong, the kind of like Soviet style. Man, this building is so big. I'm still walking around it because I'm not allowed to walk through it. Based on my limited Russian, it looks like it says Kazakhstan Republic something ministry. But I'm not allowed to go in there. So now I have to walk around this gigantic, I think it's an entire circle that loops around the palace, which I was trying to go to, but I think I might have to scrap that. This road will take me to the river, and hopefully from the river I can scope out some cool places to maybe have lunch or even just hang out and get some nice views. So I just crossed the bridge, and this bridge is actually pretty cool. Like, got a lot of graffiti and art, as well as some recreational spaces. Like, you've got 4 basketball courts right here. You've got tires and ropes and other equipment for training up there, monkey bars. And then you've got a garden and trails. I see a lot of people fishing, some people biking, skating. Very fun little area. Kind of the first glimpse of soul and character that I've seen in the city. Really dig it here. Really cool street art. A few little picnic tables and food trucks. Let's see what else it's got. Love it. Just color is much needed in this city that feels very gray and corporate. And even just having these cute little basketball courts and graffiti everywhere adds a touch of life to the city. Hopefully I can find more pockets of that. But I think that's really what I feel is missing most from a lot of these planned cities. It just takes so long for culture to grow, and especially when you have a huge population of transplants and transients, people that are here but don't live here, weren't born here, don't really have any particular ties to the city, then it doesn't foster a culture of like love for the city or creating things for the city. It's gonna take generations for people to, be born here, grow up here, fall in love with the city and call it their home. So when people are here working for a few years before moving on to the next destination, you don't really get that, especially for such a new city like Astana. It's got potential for sure. The foundation is definitely here. It's a very nice city to look at, very nice city to walk around in because of just how walkable it is and how much green space there is. But again, the city just feels far too empty for how many buildings there are, for how many probably empty offices and apartments there are. I think one of the hardest things for me about being in a country with a different script to the Latin alphabet is that I keep getting sparkling water with gas instead of still water. And I'm getting good at Cyrillic, but sometimes you just don't look and you still get sparkling water. Spicy, plain water. Not a fan. Just more huge blocks of apartment buildings that I can't imagine are very full, considering I've just been walking for an hour and I've maybe seen 20 other people. It's even more post-apocalyptic here. Like this park in particular, it's like one of the most central areas of Astana, but it looks like it hasn't been touched in years. Now walking towards this random large pyramid jutting out of pretty much nothingness, because surely it has to be something. So I guess this pyramid is called the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. I don't really have anything better to do, so I think I'll try to go in. Kazakhstan flag posing for us right now. Very nice. Inside the pyramid now. You can't walk without a guide, so.
So you can see our offices. If you come closer to the center, this is the dome of Opera Hall, etc. And the windows open and sunlight comes down from the top of our pyramid through glasses to our Opera Hall. Also, due to the fact that
leaving the pyramid now, it was okay, kind of meh. Paid 2,000 tenge and you had to do a guided tour, but I was the only person in the English tour, so big surprise there. But it was nice because the guide, she was wonderful. Her name was Rai, spoke great English, and she gave me the lowdown on Astana, gave me a ton of places that I need to visit, foods to try, even some day trips to more nature areas close to Astana, and overall just a ton of history and culture about Kazakhstan. I really do appreciate the way that this pyramid was built. For example, they've got like 130 doves or something on the side, which represents the 130 ethnicities that are in Kazakhstan. The reason it's called Peace and Reconciliation, it kind of shows a lot of when Kazakhstan first became a country, the relations with the other countries. They sent gifts, and that's where all of it is stored, from Greece, from Armenia, Korea. Yeah, overall, not the worst way to spend half an hour or so, and $4. It was also good to get out of the sun for a little bit, and now it is very cloudy and gloomy, which is good because I forgot to bring sunscreen and I don't want to get burnt in Soviet Russia, of all places. But yeah, this side, she explained to me, is a lot quieter because it is the old city. And most people prefer the new city, so not too many people around these parts, although we've got some kids on bikes and enough traffic to make it look like it's a real city, despite the fact that it's like a 20-lane highway and you see 1 or 2 cars passing every second. We got the National Museum over there, the Kazakh Ilai Monument, some grand palace, and then this mosque that I will try to cross this 15-lane highway and get to. But yeah, even my guide Rai, who I told I've been in Kazakhstan for around 10 days now, but I told her I spent most of it in Almaty, and this was my first full day here in Astana, and she just seems so apologetic, like how can Astana live up to this? But she did her best to give me things to fill my time, so I'm excited. You know, it got me more hyped up for the city than I previously was. I think I'll be able to easily fill my 3 days here without getting too bored. The cloudy skies really make such a big difference, because when I got here yesterday it was very cloudy and gloomy and it all just felt, you know, very Soviet gray. And then when it was sunny this morning, I was like really enjoying the city, all the green spaces, all of the shiny architecture. And now that it's cloudy and gloomy again, everything kind of looks a little more drab and disappointing. But the rain did stop, so I'm already on this side of town. I might as well keep walking around and see what we find. Get those steps in after a few fairly lazy days. Again, there are so many parts of the city that feel objectively beautiful, like this mosque, this little, I don't know what to call it, aqueduct that doesn't have water in it. All these monuments and that big pyramid, the museum over there, these shiny glass buildings. Like, there's a lot of really nice things to look at here in Astana, but it just all feels so empty in many senses of the word, just physically empty, where there's not a ton of people around anywhere, and then just empty in the sense that it exists, but there isn't much to it. You know, there's no depth to the city, which, again, I just found out that Astana is even younger than I thought. I thought it was maybe in the 60s, but no, it was in the 90s. Astana was built, it was planned, and over the course of 20 years is how this massive, very shiny and new city came to fruition. Yeah, it's a very baby city. It's like almost as young as I am. This is probably the most I've ever talked to my camera on a video, or total ever, all videos combined. But just with the city being so empty, it's like no one can judge me, which is wonderful. Good practice for when I eventually make it to countries that are less empty, when a lot of the city is made of glass that reflects the blue skies. When it's gray and gloomy out, you just don't get that same vibrance and energy. But I just love how big the windows are in like pretty much every Soviet city that I've been to. Tashkent was the same. Almaty had a few big buildings that were just like all windows, and then here it's just all glass. This one and whatever that is, apartment buildings maybe, floor to ceiling windows everywhere. Just more of these extravagant, luxurious looking buildings. I am very fascinated by the architecture here. It does not get old, so it's nice being somewhere that's really different. Keeps things exciting. Brand new spanking street sweeper. She is a beauty. Here outside the mosque now, raining a bit, so I think I'm gonna close out my Astana adventures for the day, because I do have 2 more full days to explore this city, and I'm already running low on things to do. But I think I found a nice side road, so from here I'm gonna call a Yandex back to my place. A little feeder, the end of this little walkway where I think I'm gonna order my Yandex. But my Cyrillic is getting good. I can make out that the last 2 words of that say drama theater. The rest, still no clue.
And that is a wrap on our first day of exploring Astana. I apologize since that might have been my least exciting and action-packed video to date, but I cannot in good faith make a hype video for a city where I experienced, truth be told, very little hype. But there is much more to come, an Astana redemption arc, mayhaps? How are we going to fill our remaining time in Kazakhstan's capital? Is it going to be as quiet, lonely, and depressing as today's adventures, or is there hope for Astana yet? I'd say we are on an upturn, trending in the right direction, and coming up next on our Kazakhstan travel diaries, I've managed to sneak on a Russian language tour to a national park for the next day, despite speaking absolutely no Russian, just like Call of Duty. Spoiler alert, I fell in love with Kazakhstan for its incredible people, and with their help and the power of friendship, I've started to see Astana with brand new eyes. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for what happens next. See you all on the next video.